big Israel-Hamas escalation looms. Will Gaza be invaded next? India's top conflict reporters on ground zero.
अभी यहाँ पर हमास के रॉकेट्स अभी ऊपर आ रहे हैं और आयरन डोम सिस्टम यहाँ पर आ रहा है। अभी हम लोग बिल्कुल भागने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। 1 मिनट।
As Hamas rains hellfire on Israel,
thick plumes of smoke rising over the horizon. That is Gaza being bombed by the Israeli forces.
shattering view of the war zone.
पूरा घर दहल रहा है धमाकों से। सायरन बजा और महज 20 सेकंड के भीतर से जो रॉकेट है वो दागे गए हैं।
From Israel to Lebanon.
The whole patch of Gaza Strip is on one side with the sea. From the land, also now the Israel has enhanced the security of the sea so that the Hamas and the Hezbollah fighters could not penetrate.
The most exhaustive coverage of Israel-Hamas war.
Hello and welcome to an India Today special broadcast that comes to you from the Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. I'm Gaurav Sawant. The situation in Israel extremely tense at this time. Hamas terrorists tried to target the Ben Gurion Airport and flights to this area, to this airport have been disrupted. Several flights have been cancelled, several delayed, and Israel that promises to fight back is facing an uphill task. Over the course of the next half hour, we get you details. I was reporting from Sderot in the southern part of Israel. That's the southern tip of Israel. Some Hamas terrorists have been spotted around that area. Some Hamas terrorists have been spotted around Escalation. India Today's Ashutosh Mishra and I report from Israel, and Ashraf Vani gets you the latest reports from Lebanon. Take a look at these special reports. और ये तस्वीरें देखिए, ये सिडरोट शहर की तस्वीरें हैं। बिल्कुल सुनसान पड़ा है ये सिडरोट शहर और एक व्यक्ति आपको कहीं नहीं दिख रहा है, ना किसी घर में, ना सड़कों पर, और यहाँ तनाव बहुत ज्यादा लगातार बढ़ता जा रहा है, लेकिन खतरा अभी भी बरकरार है। ये पुलिस की टीमें और कंस्ट्रक्शन की टीमें यहाँ पर इलाकों को खाली करा रही हैं। वो आप देख भी सकते हैं कि सेना की टुकड़ियां घर खाली करा रही हैं और अभी यहाँ पर हमास के रॉकेट्स अभी ऊपर आ रहे हैं और आयरन डोम सिस्टम यहाँ पर आ रहा है। अभी हम लोग बिल्कुल भागने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। 1 मिनट। वी आर ट्राइंग टू रन टू अ शेल्टर। यहाँ पर हमास के रॉकेट यहाँ पर आ रहे हैं। डोम सिस्टम यहाँ एक्टिवेट हो रहा है और हम बिल्कुल जल्दी से यहाँ पर बॉम्ब शेल्टर के अंदर, यहाँ पर इस समय स्थिति है कि हम बॉम्ब शेल्टर के अंदर है और ये दरवाजा बंद करने की जरूरत है, लेकिन सिचुएशन यहाँ पर ये है। आयरन डोम बूम बूम,
This area protection from the boom come from Gaza boom, you know.
Gaza.
Israel have something in them, I don't know English, I will say, but Kipat Barzel. If the bomb from Gaza come like here, Israel make something, it come from here. And the iron like boom, you know.
तो आयरन डोम सिस्टम जो है इजराइल का, वो अब इन रॉकेट्स को ध्वस्त करेगा। लेकिन आप ये सोचिए कि अभी भी सिडरोट में आज तक की टीम मौजूद है और अभी भी हमास उस स्थिति में है कि वो सिडरोट को, एश्कलोन को, इन सभी इलाकों को निशाना बना सकता है। गौरव सावंत, सिडरोट, दक्षिणी इजराइल।
You can hear the siren played out again in Escalation. This is 5th attack since morning, and the moment siren heard, the first protocol is to evacuate. All of a sudden, loud noise, loud explosions heard here in Escalation again. You heard the siren sound, and immediately the first protocol is to vacate the room. Massive attack here by the terror group, the Hamas, which is constantly attacking the Israeli territory. And these people, if you see right behind me, who were in different rooms, all of a sudden, the moment they heard a siren, they entered in a room. Hear the sound. There's a loud sound. So this is a 5th attack since morning. Hamas constantly targeting these areas, and this is how we have to survive. Like these rooms, these are 30 iron metallic, and it is a mandatory to made in every building. And there's only a protocol. The moment you hear a siren, go to the safer places, either in the staircases or rush to the safe house. Fifth attack since morning. Escalation looks like Hamas is also aggressively escalating its offenses against Israel and the Israeli territory, targeting the civilians. Is gonna be a terrible. In the past 24 hours, this has been happening here, and it looks like situation is escalating between Hamas and Israel. With this ground report, is southern Israel's Escalation. This is Ashutosh Mishra for India Today. फिर जैसे ही सायरन बजा है अलार्म से, हम भाग करके बंकर में आए हैं। दरअसल हर घर में इस तरह 30 mm की दीवारों का एक बंकर बना हुआ है। ये परिवार हमारे साथ था बाहर, इन्हीं के घर में मैं बालकनी देखिए पूरा घर दहल रहा है धमाकों से। सायरन बजा और महज 20 सेकंड के भीतर से जो रॉकेट है वो दागे गए हैं, और इस समय आयरन डोम आवाज दे रहा, पूरा घर हिल रहा। हम इस समय एक बंकर में, घर के अंदर सेफ हाउस बनाना जरूरी होता है। परिवार की तरफ से ये महिला दरवाजे के पास थी और बाकी के सदस्य उनको खींच करके बाहर ले आए। ये बहुत तेजी से आवाज आ रही है। अचानक एस्केलॉन में एक बार फिर अटैक हुआ। ये दूसरा सायरन था और उसके तुरंत बाद भारी भरकम रॉकेट दागे गए हैं। एस्केलॉन में इस घर के सेफ हाउस से मैं आशुतोष मिश्रा, आज तक।
I was reporting from the Zikim area, very close to the southern Israeli border earlier today, and the Israeli tanks and armored personnel carriers are there in larger numbers. Israel is now preparing to mount a bigger offensive. Air attacks are happening, but by all accounts, it's only a matter of time before ground forces also go into Gaza to completely decimate the threat posed by Hamas, which incidentally, even as of now, remains quite intense. Hamas, despite the bombing, retains the capacity to strike back. In fact, there were some reports that seem to indicate that Hamas terrorists, despite massive presence of Israeli soldiers on ground, have been trying to infiltrate, this time using the sea route closer to Escalation. The Hezbollah have been trying to use the route again to infiltrate from the north. For Israel, this seems to be a war that's coming to them from two different sides, both from the north and from the south. We bring you a ground report as both Israel and the Gaza-held territory, the Palestinians there, count their losses.
Blocks after blocks smashed to rubble. Neighborhoods in the sealed-off Gaza pounded by unrelenting Israeli airstrikes.
The style of attack is barbaric. I mean, the visuals are ISO visuals. In a way, this is our 9/11, and we're standing strong. We're standing strong. We will overcome this.
Nearly 1,000 people have died in Gaza, and 1,200 in Israel since home to some 2 million people in an area of 140 square miles. More than half of them living in poverty. The tiny Gaza Strip has plunged into a humanitarian crisis, with food, fuel, electricity and water supplies cut off amidst the Israeli siege. Ordinary Palestinians crowded into UN schools and a shrinking number of safe neighborhoods. Meanwhile, sporadic fire by Hamas continued to pound southern Israeli territory. On Tuesday afternoon, barrages of rockets pounded Ashkelon and Tel Aviv. There were no immediate reports of casualties.
ये जो आप सामने टुकड़ा रखे हैं, ये है वो रॉकेट जो दरअसल आया हमास की ओर से। इसकी लंबाई देखिए, यही वो रॉकेट है, लगभग 1.5 फुट लंबा, जिसका अब ये खाली शेल है, लेकिन ये खाली शेल भी मैं उठा नहीं सकता। और ये रॉकेट जब घर में गिरा, इसने इस तरह की तबाही मचा। आप समझिए कि किस तरह की क्षमता हमास की है कि जो इतने बड़े बड़े रॉकेट वो इस्तेमाल कर रहा है और इससे नुकसान पहुंचा रहा है। और ये देखिए नुकसान भी कैसा है, उसकी क्षमता देखिए कि ये पूरी जो दीवार है 1.5 फीट चौड़ी, इस पूरी दीवार को उसने भेद दिया था पूरे घर को। और ये देखिए ऊपर तक नुकसान, ऊपर 3 से 4 मंजिला तक नुकसान हुआ है लोगों का।
With heavy mobilization along the Gaza Strip, Israel appears increasingly likely to launch a ground offensive into the 40-kilometer-long swath wedged among Israel, Egypt and the Mediterranean.
आप ये सोच नजर दौड़ाइए, पुलिस की एक गाड़ी यहाँ, पुलिस की एक गाड़ी यहाँ पर और सेना की गाड़ियां यहाँ पर। पूरा प्रयास यही है कि जल्द से जल्द अब यहाँ पर अगर हमास के आतंकवादी किसी पॉकेट में छिपे हैं, किसी बिल्डिंग में छिपे हैं, किसी नुक्कड़ पे, किसी छत पर, घर की छत पर या फिर किसी कमरे में, तो एक एक कमरे को खाली कराया जा रहा है। ये वो इलाका है जहाँ सबसे ज्यादा असर था हमास के आतंकवादियों का दक्षिणी इजराइल में। घरों में घुसकर यहाँ लोगों को मौत के घाट उतारा था।
The United States expressed complete solidarity with Israel and warned Iran and Lebanon's Hezbollah militant group against supporting Hamas.
Let there be no doubt, the United States has Israel's back. We will make sure the Jewish and democratic state of Israel can defend itself today, tomorrow, as we always have. It's as simple as that. These atrocities have been sickening.
A momentous challenge ahead for Israel to rescue dozens of civilians and Israeli soldiers held hostage by Hamas militants safely from the narrow, densely populated Gaza Strip. With Gaurav, Sawant and Ashutosh Mishra from southern Israel, Bureau Report, India Today.
There is one report that's coming out of Kafar Azar. This is one of the smaller settlements, kibbutz, right at the border, very close to the Gaza Strip, where the Hamas terrorists are believed to have butchered, massacred little children. Israeli forces that went and recovered their territory, they found little children, according to Israeli media reports, with their heads completely chopped off. This story has stunned not just the people of that locality, not just Israel, but people across the world. This is where Israel says enough is enough. 1,200 people have been killed in Israel. More than 2,000 people have been injured in Israel. But this entire country is coming together. In fact, some of the flights that were coming in to Israel had overseas Israelis coming home to fight for justice and to fight to decimate the Hamas.
Unspeakable horrors of the Hamas terror attacks on Israel. Reports suggest Hamas terrorists brutally slaughtered, beheaded 40 babies in a kibbutz, Kfar Aza, near the Gaza Strip in the most monstrous way. This is what an Israeli general has claimed. Cribs overturned, strollers left behind, barbaric enough to send chills down anyone's spine. The entire world has reeled in horror.
It's hard to even explain exactly just the mass casualties that happened right here. In fact, the Israeli military says they still don't have a clear number, but I'm talking to some of the soldiers and they say what they've witnessed as they've been walking through these different houses, these different communities. Babies, their heads cut off. That's what they said. Gunned down, families completely gunned down in their beds. You can see some of these soldiers right now comforting each other. Many of them reserves who jumped into action, leaving their own families behind as well.
The Israeli government has sent out a big warning to the Hamas terrorists for allegedly killing innocent babies.
We had hundreds massacred, families wiped out in their beds and their homes, women brutally raped and murdered, over 100 kidnapped, including children. It's only gotten worse. They took dozens of children, bound them up, burned them, and executed them.
Those who behead children, burn women, and kill Holocaust survivors will be deleted. The clear message and full support I conveyed today to our dear fighters at the Gaza border.
Some soldiers say they found babies with their heads cut off and entire families gunned down in their beds.
We walk door after door. We kill a lot of the terrorists. We are stronger than them. They are aggressive. They are very bad. They cut head of children, cut head of women, but we are stronger than them.
The Israeli Defense Forces were removing the bodies of victims found in the area when they found the children's mutilated remains. According to reports, Hamas terrorists unleashed barbarism while the babies were sleeping with their parents, dragged them into the streets, beheading most of them and shooting the remaining dead, is what the Israeli government claims.
It's not a war. It's not a battlefield. You see the babies, the mother, the fathers in their bedrooms, in their protection rooms, and how the terrorists kill them. It's not a war. It's not a battlefield. It's a massacre. It's a terror activity. So you can look it on yourself. It's something that I never saw in my life.
Another horrific image from the kibbutz Reim shows the terrorists forcing their entry and lying in ambush. One of the terrorists is seen attacking a passenger car which arrives unsuspecting at the gate, opening fire from point-blank range and gunning down all occupants of the vehicle. More than 700 Israelis were killed in one day in the kibbutz near the Gaza border. The largest terror attack in a single day in the country's history, where 1,200 Israelis have died. With Gaurav Sawant and Ashutosh Mishra across Israel, Bureau Report, India Today.
Even though Israel has been bombing Hamas bases, they've bombed the house of Mohammed Deif, the head of Hamas. They've bombed various other vital assets and vital points of the Hamas military leadership. Hamas retains the capability to strike. Even today, there were a series of rocket attacks that took place, and not restricted just to Esdrot, where I was, or Escalation, where Ashutosh Mishra has been reporting from, but several parts of southern Israel have been in the line of Hamas fire. Even this Ben Gurion airport behind me has been targeted by the terrorists. The added threat is from the north, where Hezbollah has been targeting various camps very close to the border. We bring you this report. India Today's Ashrafani in Lebanon, Ashutosh Mishra in Escalation, and I, Gaurav Sawant, will continue to report from different parts of Israel. We've been in Sderot, we've been in Escalation. I'm reporting from the Ben Gurion airport here in Tel Aviv, where tension continues to mount. There are massive crowds because several flights have been delayed and cancelled. We will continue to get you the latest updates, but that is all I have for you on this special broadcast from Israel. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.